Network Entertainment.
Who's ready for story time?
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
Let me talk to him.
Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Hey everyone, this is Jeff Cobb.
I have to finish the story.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
Run!
Bang! The sniper is shooting you down. This is TMDK's Robbie Eagles.
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
Hello, my name is Ilya Dragunov, the star, the NXT champion, and you're listening to...
And you're listening to...
And you're listening...
And you are listening...
And you're listening
to the Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You are watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. Stan C, Ro Moran, Emil Nate, and Rowan ASH all checking in for our year-end awards special. And you might not see him here right now on the actual video, but we promise, nandito si Emil. He's actually dialing in via satellite. So we're actually impressed with our friends here at the Pod Network. Syempre si Babyface producer Jasper, also here with us. And, you know, it's just wild that we actually made it to the end of 2023 and we get to record this year-end awards special.
Yun, yeah. I never thought this was possible. Jasper has been hiding the secret from us for a while now. Kasi if we knew, we would have... Kasi our friends here, Kuya Jeff, they've been suggesting that we do more recordings and streams from here sa studio. Syempre, alam niyo naman na mahirap mag-align ng schedules.
Yeah.
Especially with Rowan, almost a dentist, here not being available. So we didn't know that we could actually do a hybrid recording and stream.
Yeah, but here we are. We actually made it. Let's say hi to Rowan first because we got to get his licks in. Medyo rusty naman to si Rowan. So let's get that ring rust or mic rust out of the way.
Yeah, so hi guys. I've been back since our last audio-only episode, which was like 3 weeks ago after Survivor Series. So yeah, I'm really happy I'm with you guys. And... even though my year has been like miserable, no? I'm really happy I'm with you guys.
That sucks. I mean, I'm sorry for you. But thank you that you're here, that you made time for us, especially pinapaaral ka namin. Joke lang.
We wish.
I gave you some money today. So technically, pinapaaral kita. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad that you were able to make time because you've been busy. You've been busy with... you have been busy studying and achieving your dreams of becoming a full-fledged adult with a full-fledged adult job. Really honorable. Some people can't say that for themselves,
Yeah, some people who went to your very school cannot say them for themselves. Let's check in with Emil, who's via satellite. Emil, malinaw ba signal dyan?
Yes, super. So I can hear you guys clearly. There's no delay on my end, so everything's good. Again, thank you to our friends and there at the Pod Network Studios for making this as possible. Kasi akala ko this is something na hindi kayang gawin pero kaya naman palang gawin. So here I am. So kahit wala ako sa studio, I'm here. I'm here, and you can guys hear me and we can talk about wrestling here today.
All right. So we have a lot to talk about for our year-end awards. And normally we have like 15 or so categories, but we've introduced some new ones for 2023. So what we're going to do is we're going to split these year-end awards into 2 episodes para rin makapag-break kami, makapag-break yung TPN over the holidays. And we can also not overwhelm you with all of the content in just one full blast. So we're going to be getting to 9 categories for this particular episode. Then when part 2 drops in about a couple of days from now, yung latter half, so the latter 9 categories, dun natin ibabagsak. All right? So for this set of year-end awards, we're going to talk about the Rookie of the Year, the Most Improved Wrestler of the Year, Breakout Wrestler of the Year, the What the F Moment of the Year, catchphrase of the year, wrestling meme of the year, the dance of the year, and the backstage beef of the year. So some of those are new, and we're going to explain them one by one as we go through them. But before all of that, a big thank you goes out to all of our patrons who, as always, have been a huge part of our year sa Wrestling Podcast. They've been supporting our events, yung mga pasabay, our different business ventures. So a lot of the things that we're able to enjoy in 2023, hindi natin ma-enjoy without the patrons. So a lot of love, a lot of gratitude goes out to the patrons of the Wrestling Podcast. And we can't wait to get together with you guys in 2024. If you're part of the Discord, I'm sure nakita nyo na yung mga events that we're already shooting the breeze on. So a little more, and we can actually put some time and effort into making those events a reality, right? So yeah, let's get our year-end awards, and let's start with one of our staples, which is Rookie of the Year. And Ro, let's explain it for those who might be new to this category.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year, syempre, it sounds like what it is on the label, pero it is a little trickier in wrestling, in TV wrestling. Kasi in mainstream wrestling, you're not always a real rookie. Like, for example, Gunther was a rookie on Raw or SmackDown a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Diba? But obviously, we all know that he's been wrestling for, 10 years, more than that. So, technically, hindi siya totoong rookie in the sense of the word. But when you move up to a show or a company that is bigger than from where you were before, you technically qualify as a rookie. Kasi for a lot of people, a lot of fans, syempre yung mga casual fans din, some of these might not know about your background, about your work experience. So technically, baguhan ka pa rin sa mga mata nila.
Yeah. So yun, if you move up to a bigger show or a bigger promotion, for example, that makes you qualified for Rookie of the Year. For example, you go from NXT to Raw or SmackDown, yun, that's considered being a rookie, diba? Or if you go from the Indies to AEW, yun, pwede ring rookie yun. Eto, a question. If you're someone like Lexis King who made the jump from AEW to NXT, counted ba yun?
I don't think so.
I want to count it kasi technically, even though it's NXT and then you were exposed on Dynamite, you are still technically moving to the bigger company. Mm-hmm. Let's face it, WWE is what? A global monster, diba? As compared to AEW, who's only really just branching out now. So it's a little arbitrary, I will admit, pero as with all things, I think you do end up reaching a bigger audience in WWE.
Ikaw, Emil, ano yung reasoning mo?
No, because I don't consider it as him being a rookie again. It's him parang free agency. He just went to another company. That's it.
Lateral movement, ganon.
Yeah, parang ganon. Yeah, I don't consider that's moving up for me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Well, fortunately for all of us, Lexis King is not among our nominees, so we don't have to talk about Lexis King in this category. We will start this off though with one Nick Wayne, who is Chino's pick for Rookie of the Year. So, Nick Wayne obviously went from the Indies, particularly sa Pacific Northwest, which is where sina Darby Allin and Swerve Strickland came from. Yung tatay niya, the late Buddy Wayne, dun din siya nanggaling. And he moves on to AEW here, where he's now the prodigy Nick Wayne. He's part of the Patriarchy, yung stable ni Christian Cage. And I wouldn't say he had the most outstanding rookie year or rookie season, but he has made quite an impact in the sense na may tunog na kahit paano yung pangalan niya.
I don't really agree with this. Nick Wayne is good, pero his claim to fame, the reason why he got signed to AEW is because he does wrestling okay for a young kid.
Yeah, for an 18-year-old.
For an 18-year-old. That's a lot to take in. Pero other than that, he hasn't really been transcendental. I don't see myself looking forward to Nick Wayne matches because he's just really a kid who can fly around. That's it. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not out of this world for me.
For me, he's like an equivalent of Dante Martin for me.
No? Okay.
Magaling naman siya, pero I think he's someone to watch out for in 2024 if we still have that category.
Okay.
We do not.
Yeah, well, we took that out this year kasi may mga bagong categories tayong nilagay. Ikaw, Emil, what are your feelings on Nick Wayne in his rookie year on AEW?
I remember the hype surrounding Nick Wayne 2 years ago when he had that viral match against Ospreay, and then Darby Allin I don't know if they promised, but they said now once he turns 18, he's gonna have a AW contract. So there was definitely some hype coming in, and so far he's doing okay. I mean, at least he's getting prominently featured on Dynamite as the prodigy of Christian Cage. So he's doing well for himself. I mean, he could have been doing dark or ROH matches, but he's on the main shows. At least nagpapakita siya on the main show. So that's a plus for Nick Wayne.
All right. Let's get to your picks, Emil and Rowan. So you guys put Maxine Dupree as your Rookie of the Year. Let's start with Emil. Why Maxine?
All right, so this is kind of like the Chet Holmgren pick because technically last year nasa WWE na si Maxine Dupree, the character Maxine Dupree, but I don't think she made her in-ring debut last year. It was this year. Her first match was on Raw, which really that really impressed me when she made her in-ring debut. So no one really saw this coming. I mean, I thought the Maximum Male Models gimmick was dead in the water, but she found a way to make herself relevant. She found a way to make her name to the WWE as a member of the Alpha Academy. Like, I remember when this angle started, I thought this was just going to be a throwaway angle, or it will lead to a split amongst the members of Alpha Academy. But turns out that was the best thing that happened to her young career so far. And whether she is a supporting character or a wrestler that would sometimes tag with either Gable or Otis, she is able to deliver every time. I'm not saying that she's like incredible wrestler, not this rate, but my thing is she's able to deliver every time she appears on screen. And yun na nga, she hindi pa siya yung best when it comes to in-ring wise, but I could see that potential in her based on the reactions that she's getting with the crowd, and I think it's only a matter of time where she gets more reps and she gets better in the ring. So the potential here is big for Maxine Dupree. That's why I'm picking her for my Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I agree. And Maximum Male Models were not even on TV when she was still managing them. Kaya it was like hindering Maxine's potential. So whenever we see her wrestle right now, it's like it's showing us na I'm more than just a manager. I'm more than just a valet. Kaya I'm really impressed when we saw her fight in the ring.
All right. Let's get to yung pick namin ni Ro, which is the Creed brothers, who made the jump as well from NXT to Raw. And man, the Creed brothers have really made so much noise in just 1 or 2 months on the main roster.
Yeah, legit. This is, I think a lot of people have compared teams to the Steiners over the decades since they were active as a team. Pero the Creed brothers are legit. I think, I'm not sure if they ever set out to, when they were setting out as wrestlers, if they set out to become pro wrestlers eventually. Pero sobrang gets nila, sobrang galing nila. They took to it like fish to water, I guess. But they are so good. And I wouldn't have minded at all if they beat Judgment Day the other day.
Yeah, there's something about them na they really combine yung natural athleticism of yung amateur wrestling background nila with the sports entertainment of it all. They can be characters as well. I think mas may personality si Brutus, but Julius actually makes up for it by being the technical one, diba? And commentary does a good job of putting that over as well, in case you can't tell Julius and Brutus apart. They do, diba?
I can tell them apart.
No. As in sinasabi nila na Julius is the more technically proficient one, whereas Brutus is the guy who just goes Hulk smash.
Pwede mo naman sabihing mas guwapo si Julius, mas stout si Brutus.
I guess, but just having them on TV, it's so much fun. I actually wish that the call-up happened much sooner. Kasi diba?
I did. When they lost to
yung loser
Schism.
leaves NXT. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kala natin, diba, yun yung call-up nila, and then we had to wait another few months. They had to get another feud out of the way. So it's just great to see where they're at right now. Na in less than a quarter of a year, they're legit contenders for the tag team championships. And it's funny because the Creed brothers and si Ivy Nile, by extension, when they came in to WWE TV, sila lang parang +1 ng Diamond Mine, and now they are Diamond Mine. They have actually outlasted sina Stokely Hathaway and Roderick Strong and Hachiman or
Tyler
Hideki
Rust.
Suzuki. Tyler Rust, diba? All of these people are gone, but Diamond Mine lives on through the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile.
Tsaka ito pala, just one thing that I just thought of now. The Creed brothers are the 2023 and the tag team equivalent of 2002 Brock Lesnar. So if you haven't seen the Creed brothers cook, that is the best way to sum them up.
Yeah, natural ability talaga for the Creeds. Very well deserving for Rookie of the Year. Let's move on to our next category, Most Improved Wrestler. How do we define this one?
Most improved. I mean, it is as it says on the label. Don't have to be, moving up from any brands or anything or any companies. If you feel na gumaling siya, then that is the answer.
All right. I'm going to start with mine here because this one is, I guess, a dark horse pick, and that's Von Wagner.
Wow.
So I wasn't
a big Von Wagner hater.
Yes, exactly. I was not the biggest fan of Von Wagner when he first appeared on NXT, but somehow they were able to make something work with yung story niya, with the scars on his head and the mental health problems that came with it, and then the way they were able to flesh out yung story niya with Mr. Stone and how they came into the PC together, and then that's why they're more than just manager and client. I actually like it. I wouldn't say that Von Wagner is like the best in terms of in-ring ability, but I think he's someone worth investing in now, and that's leagues ahead of where he was when NXT 2.0 began 2 years ago. So I think on that metric alone, it's worthy enough to be considered for most improved for 2023.
For me, I always thought Von Wagner had something. It's just that the something wasn't contextualized properly and supported properly by the writing. So ngayon, he had better writing, and then now we care about him. He and Stone acted the story well. Kaya I can buy this as a good pick for most improved.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Emil, Rowan, any comments on Von Wagner?
I just like na yung character niya naging relatable na, because a lot of us have been a victim of bullying, and then he, of course, it affected his mental health, and then parang ngayon siya bumabawi.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Emil.
Yeah, same thoughts here. They did an incredible job of humanizing him. Kasi before he was just this meathead jock who beats people up, but now they have managed to found a way to make him relatable and make me root for him. When he was feuding with with Braun, and he had that yung ending no NXT where his head got smashed in, I was legit scared for him. So they really did a 180 on Von Wagner this year. So I will agree with the most improved pick.
All right, Rowan, who's your pick for most improved?
Actually, same kami ni Chino here. So it's Dominic Mysterio. So I remember last year when he turned heel. So that was Clash at the Castle.
Yeah.
And so months later after that, parang he's not really that good. Parang hindi tayo ganun ka-impressed. Kasi parang he was even compared to Logan Paul, who is a less experienced wrestler pero talented. Kasi it was like that time Dominic was getting gassed when he was hitting the three amigos, and then he doesn't do the frog splash that well. Pero the following year, napolish niya rin. He is like a new Eddie Guerrero in some way, pero we can still see a little bit of Ray in him. But yeah, back then, parang butt of the joke siya lagi. Like, lagi siyang punching bag, lagi siyang nabubugbog. And right now, he's very over. He's the most over guy despite being booed. And his pairing with Rhea Ripley is great. And now that Dom is associated with Judgment Day, I am actually forgetting na anak siya ni Rey Mysterio.
It's actually good. It's actually a good point. You do forget that other than the name, that his last name, which isn't even what's on his birth certificate, you do forget you do forget that he was, he is, pero, the gimmick was that he was the son of Ray.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to your pick, Ro, before we get to our consensus pick, because we apparently have one for this category.
We do? We do? Yeah. I thought that was my pick, but I changed it. But yeah, so my most improved is Tiffany Stratton, former NXT Women's Champion by now. I'm also going to say this about our consensus pick. Pero tawag dun, this is Emil's pick, I think, yung consensus, but
Yeah,
it applies na rin. When you watch the original crop of NXT 2.0 guys and gals, they were not as good in the beginning, around September 2021.
Oh, sobrang hilaw pa eh.
Yeah. And then it's fun if you were following along, kasi if you were one of the people who, despite the rawness and the goofiness of NXT 2.0, if you followed these people along, you would really enjoy watching how much they improved, legit. And Tiffany Stratton is one of them. We all know, she was signed because she was a gymnast. She had legit athletic talent. She can do all of that. And then, like the Creeds, like our next pick, they picked it up really quickly. And I don't know how much they love the business at this point, but the fact that they did that is a testament then to how willing they are to be here, and then how good the training is in the performance center. So Tiffany Stratton is one of those products really, I think whoever trained her in the PC should be proud of. I think she'll go far. Again, not sure how big of a wrestling fan she is, pero this is really good. She's really good, and the ceiling is pretty high from here.
Yeah, Tiffany Stratton has really impressed me this year. Yung feud niya with Becky Lynch, that's a standout moment for sure. Even how she debuted yung prettiest moonsault ever as her finisher this year. She also spoke about getting some training then from Ludwig Kaiser, who's her real life boyfriend. So a bit of credit goes to the man from Imperium 2. I'm really loving the whole Barbie character that she's got going on. How napaka-elitista din niya as a TV presence. So fun to watch, and I'm impressed. I'm really happy na we're getting a lot of Tiffy time on our screens. All right, Emil, let's go to your pick for most improved, which apparently is the consensus pick as well.
And so my pick, or our consensus pick, goes out to one Trick Williams. So before this year, I always thought Trick was cool, but never to a point where I expected him to be this great by the end of this year. It's kind of like the Shaq Kobe dynamic. Na at first it was Shaq who was the great one, and then eventually nalagpasan siya ni Kobe. It's the same thing here. Like, we thought Melo was the guy. Melo was the guy in that duo, and then now it looks like Trick is the guy in that duo. He really, again, broke out of Melo's shadow this year, and he became his own man. I think that was the best decision they could have made with this character. Kasi he broke out. When he did it, there was still some doubts of whether or not he can stand on his own. But boy, did he deliver. He's still raw when it comes to the in-ring skills, but everything else, the charisma, the entertainment value, it screams superstar in the future. And really came out of nowhere this year. And I think now he's in line to be one of the future stars in the main roster in a few years to come. Or kung hindi pa ngayon, in the next year or so, he might be a really a bright star now in the WWE. So that's my pick.
Yeah, what is it about this guy, about Trick Williams, that makes him so rootable? Kasi yung face niya, diba? Like when he was a heel, yung mukha niya sarap sapakin. Like he does a great job of annoying people on screen, but as a baby face, like he's the bigger guy, and yet he still comes out looking the most sympathetic, especially next to Melo.
Okay, ganito kasi yan. So it is connected to what I just said about Tiffany, about how the NXT 2.0 rookies were legit projects that we watched grow before our very eyes on TV. So the sympathetic part about Trick is that we know he's not as experienced as Carmelo. So we know that di naman bano, pero mas baguhan siya as a pro wrestler. We don't know Trick Williams. We kind of know Carmelo Hayes as a independent entity, diba? So we knew him as Christian Casanova kung meron man nakaabot sa kanya in that phase of his. But we know that Trick Willie wasn't that kind of a wrestler yet. He didn't have that pedigree. He was one of those imports from another sport, diba? So I think that's what comes across, and I think it translates really well. Because there's a bit of meta text here going on, but even without that knowledge, you can tell naman between the two of them, between Carmelo. Kasi you can see that Carmelo is an elite level wrestler at this point. And then when you watch Trick beside him, he's not as savvy in the ring. So that may be where the sympathy comes from. And then now he plays it well. Yung pagiging biktima niya of being attacked backstage, right? Yeah. Carmelo's also playing the part of being the unbelievable best friend who's trying to deflect.
Napaka-sus.
The sus best friend who's trying to deflect the blame. So I think that's what we feel about Trick without really realizing how it comes across.
I think it's remarkable because for someone named Trick, he is surprisingly rootable. Diba? Like when you meet someone named Trick, chances are kupal sila. Sorry pero I've never met a guy named Trick na hindi kupal. I knew one guy named Trick. He was an asshole. So I don't know about you, Rowan. What do you feel about Trick Williams?
Oh yeah, I mean, he's really impressive, and most of the time na nakikita ko siya noon, he's more of a sidekick rather than a star. But now he's proving that he is a star. Kaya parang, the way I see it, parang nainggit si Melo.
All right. Trick Williams, our consensus pick here for most improved for 2023. Let's go to breakout wrestler of the year. Na ano rin, very self-explanatory, kind of like most improved. So this is somebody who really stood out from the pack, somebody who grabbed so much attention. We're gonna start with Emil's pick here.
All right, so my pick actually for the breakout wrestler of the year is Dominic Mysterio. So my justification here of breakout is because before, again, joining Judgment Day, Dominic feels like he's just there. Like he's the Nepo baby of Rey Mysterio. But he really, again, like Rowan said when he was telling his case for Dom as the most improved, he really broke out of the Mysterio name and became his own man. He created his own identity outside of being the son of Rey Mysterio and became one of the hottest heels in the company. And yung sa improved part of the ring, yes, that was a given, but it's more of he really broke out of his shell this year and became someone else, and I would give him so much props for that. So that's my breakout rest of the year, Dominic Mysterio.
All right. See Chino, his pick for breakout wrestler of the year, Speedball Mike Bailey. So I can't really speak for Mike Bailey a whole lot because I just haven't really had the opportunity to catch him other than that one match against Will Ospreay. But ikaw, Ro, what can you say about Mike Bailey being qualified for breakout wrestler of the year despite not really being on the major two companies?
No, I agree with this. This isn't a bad pick at all. First, yung metric ko is we picked him a lot more this year for picks of the week.
Yeah.
So you can tell that he has been putting out bangers, not just in Impact, but also in other places, but mostly Impact. He has been building up the social media buzz, and that does qualify as a breakout star. He's been in the game for, I think, a decade now.
Yeah.
Pero syempre, for a lot of us, you don't really break out until you have accrued that much experience, or unless you're a phenom like Brock Lesnar. So,
or unless you make it to the two major companies,
yeah, exactly,
and you get
like
so
Brock
much
Lesnar.
airtime. Yeah.
So, okay lang to. This isn't a bad pick at all. I say that he's a breakout because I feel he is in line for better opportunities next year and beyond.
All right, let's get to our pick, Ro, and I think this one's obvious if you watch WWE programming, which if you listen to this podcast, chances are you do, and it's LA Knight. I mean, LA Knight started this year feuding with the late Bray Wyatt, and then after the Bray feud, kind of went sideways for reasons that can't really be blamed on just one entity or one circumstance alone, LA Knight just caught lightning in a bottle, got so much organic buzz from people, tapos bigla na lang tumaas yung merch sales niya, tumaas yung social media buzz, lahat ng mga chants lumakas, and honestly, I still can't put my finger on why and how this happened.
Wala, so people like a really charismatic guy. People like people who talk a lot. You should know you are this character precisely. So it's like CM Punk. People rally around CM Punk not because he's a good wrestler, but not saying that he isn't, but because he is able to talk everyone's pants off. Diba? When you are drawn to someone who can really talk well. Not saying that LA Knight is as substantial as CM Punk at this moment, pero when you are carried away by someone's raw animal magnetism, then the rest will follow, even if you're not as good in the ring, So that's it. That's the secret sauce. That's the formula for success. And wala, nadadala na yung yabang niya as Tito Mikey would, not Tito Mikey Lurin, but the other Tito Mikey would
Mikey
say.
Reyes. LA Knight, what he's done is just surreal and insane, diba? Kasi he got called up to the main roster, became Max Dupree, and then everyone thought na wala, mare-release din to at some point. And then he was able to get his old name back, which is LA Knight, and then just made a mark which carried him to the main event of Crown Jewel, got himself into a feud with Roman Reigns, and this guy wasn't even on WrestleMania. Think about that.
Yeah.
He was nowhere near WrestleMania 39, and yet this is a guy who we're saying had one of the best years in 2023.
Yeah. Undeniable. I think there was no other real answer for this category than LA Knight. Kasi if you go from a almost released star, you're pretty much this generation's John Cena. So you almost got killed, and then now you're one of the most undeniable things in the wrestling industry, diba? So that is a tall order, and that should have been enough for you to sweep this award.
Yeah. So, undesirable to undeniable baka mo. Move out of the way, Cody Rhodes. That should be LA Knight's catchphrase now, because that's what happened to him in 2023. All right, let's go to our next category, which is the What the F moment of the year. And as the title states, these are moments that quite literally made us go, what the fuck? Either for good reasons or bad reasons. And based on our list right now, medyo 50-50 siya. So it's actually, very accurate for What the Fuck moment of the year. We're going to start with the bad stuff first, just because, you always want to get the bad news out of the way. And let's start with Ro.
Yeah, there were quite a bit of deaths in the wrestling industry this year. Syempre, obviously, some hit harder than others. Although you can say that the Bray Wyatt passing is really bad, because he is one of the biggest stars in the biggest company in the world. Nothing would have ever prepared us for the sudden accident of Jay Briscoe. So, it was a freak accident talaga. Bray medyo may sakit pa eh, so you could have kind of seen it coming if you knew what was going on with him. But this one was way too sudden. It was, not sensible at all. And I don't know if it was avoidable, but I think at this point, since it was an accident, it could have been avoided. So it just threw everyone for a loop. It affected a lot of plans. They were, at the time, tag team champions, about ROH World Tag Team Champions. So nobody wants to see something like that, and in a senseless way. Yeah. So that's why it's the biggest shock for me. It's just something that nobody could have ever foreseen, I think, at that time.
Mm-hmm. I think with the Jay Briscoe passing, yung pinaka nakakagago dun is it took his death for the Briscoes to be allowed to be on AEW television. Yeah. I think that was really messed up, and I don't want to hold anyone specifically accountable. Like whoever makes the decisions, they make the decisions, diba?
Warner Brothers naman.
Yeah, but we're not in those rooms where those conversations happen. It's just that it's really messed up kasi by all accounts, from the people who knew Jay Briscoe, who know the Briscoes, these are people who tried to make amends after those homophobic comments came out from like a decade ago. These were people who tried to grow from it. So it's just really unfortunate na it took Jay Briscoe's passing, for them to even be on AEW television. And there just is no silver lining to something like this, especially when a wrestler this young, a human being this young, diba, with a family, na may young children, just gets taken away in, as Rose said, a very nonsensical manner. So yun. He alluded to the Bray Wyatt passing. That's actually my pick for What the F moment of the year. Because when Bray Wyatt's passing happened, I think a lot of us could not process it. Diba? Kasi Bray Wyatt is such a huge star. And him having just come back, not even a year prior, diba? Yung Extreme Rules, he came back, he started to tell his story, did the Uncle Howdy thing, got into the feud with LA Knight, and then bilang poof, wala na. He's gone. He's dead. How do you even begin to process that? For a lot of fans, you just don't. You just can't. And I think a lot of us might compare this to the Eddie Guerrero passing from 2005. This was something I saw on wrestling Twitter when Bray died. Na parang this is very much the equivalent of Eddie's passing. So what do you guys think about that? Because like for me, it was such a shock that I couldn't really function that day.
So yeah, I remember this was a Saturday morning sa atin eh. And then my mom was trying to wake me up kasi may online class ako, and then ako hindi ako magising-gising, pero ako when I checked my phone, ang nagpagising sa akin is this bad news about Bray dying. And ako, I can't believe it kasi parang I remember last SummerSlam watch party, me and Emil were like talking na, oh, pagbalik ni Bray, he's gonna feud with Cody. And then it didn't even happen. Kasi parang that's what the rumors also said.
Yeah.
And then it's just sad na hindi siya mangyayari na anymore. And what's more sad is that he's the most creative guy in the roster that time. Well, now he's gone. No one can be... There's... Hindi na magkakaroon ng isa pang Bray Wyatt. Hindi... Sayang lang na hindi natin nakita yung Wyatt faction, whatever's gonna happen with that. We never knew who's gonna feud with. It's just sad na wala na nangyayari.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Emil, any thoughts about either passing?
Yung sa akin, kasi as much as the deaths of Eddie Guerrero, the other guys were sad, this one hits different, hits harder for me kasi Bray Wyatt was from this era. And I became a wrestling fan at the same time when Bray made his debut to NXT a decade ago. So it really hit different because I saw this guy, his whole journey, his whole wrestling career in WWE, and then he's gone. So parang, damn, it really hit different. It really hit me different when he passed compared to sa mga before. Kasi di ko naabutan yung yung prime nila. But this one, and also the Jay Briscoe one as well, really hit me harder talaga.
Mm-hmm. I remember when Bray passed away, I got this message from both Carlo Pamintuan and Chino. Dude, Bray is my age. So like, like we can kind of snicker at it now, but like, just processing that again, parang it hits you like a truck, right?
The thing about that though is that the death had nothing to do with his age. Right?
Yeah.
I think we can all say. I think it was somewhat argued na it had something to do with COVID. Could be that.
Saka hindi usot yung defibrillator niya.
Because he had something before.
Yeah.
I think it was also because of COVID, similar to what Keith Lee went through. So I don't think you should be concerned too much about how old you are. Diba? Sure, you can be healthy, you can be fitter, pero I think it was really just an unfortunate circumstance of the world we are in now. Talagang, we've all had COVID, I think, now at this point. So that is going to mess with us eventually, sooner or later.
Yeah. Since we're kind of doing this in memoriam segment for 2023, we also got to mention the late great Terry Funk, who passed away literally a day before Bray Wyatt did. It wasn't as big of a shocker, I guess, kasi he'd already been struggling with health issues. Pero ganun din, like I appreciated yung tributes that came out for Terry Funk on WWE television and on social media from the wrestling community kasi hindi naman may pagkakaila, diba, na napakalaki ng impact ni Terry Funk on wrestling as a whole, and then later on in his later career, yung hardcore matches. So, just rest in peace to all of these personalities who were taken from us in 2023. Not just Jay Briscoe, Bray Wyatt, and Terry Funk, but basically everyone from the community who passed on. All right, we did mention that this category, the What the F moment of the year, does feature some good as well. So let's get to Chino's pick for this category, which is Adam Copeland signing with AEW. So, no October Wrestle Dream, at the very end of the show, we heard the familiar You Think You Know Me soundbite, except hindi na siya yung original. It's the voice of Beth Phoenix, but we heard Metalingus. We saw Adam Copeland come out to AEW, and then it kickstarted his story with Christian Cage. So, huge shocker na then again medyo na dilute because social media and the dirt sheets were already talking about this in the days leading up to Wrestle Dream.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yes, it is a big what the fuck in a good way. Pero it's also not the shocking type kasi he has done it all, diba? He has won it all. I think there was a kernel of truth in him saying that there wasn't much left to do in WWE at the time, and they weren't really prioritizing him at the time. Kaya, syempre, pumayag Triple H, diba? Even if it meant that AEW would get a big name, regardless of what or how it turned out now, it's still a big name. So, when we heard or when we confirmed that was what was gonna happen, parang madali namang tanggapin eh.
Yeah.
Na he would switch shows and work with Christian again. So yeah, it's a shock in that man walked out of his 25 year WWE career. But some things you just gotta do, especially when there is a new place to go to after so long, diba? So it's shocking, yes, but also not super shocking.
Kayo, Rowan, Emil, was it shocking for you when you heard Metalingus and saw Adam Copeland in AEW?
Yeah, definitely. It was unexpected. I mean, it was expected because it's been reported. And I've been an Edge fan. Malulungkot ako if he was actually gonna retire. Kaya I'm really happy that he's still wrestling. And it's up to him to decide na kung kailan niya ihahang yung boots niya.
Mm-hmm. Ikaw, Emil.
Yeah, what trips me out was, like, usually when someone makes the switch or someone goes to another company, they would go out to a different theme song, different name, different presentation.
The Edge.
With Adam Cole, yeah, it's the Edge character, except he's not allowed to use the Edge name anymore. But it's kind of the same guy. Oh my God, we're seeing this guy who I just saw months ago in SmackDown, now here in AEW. So that's what I think added to yung pagka what the F niya. So again, this was a good pick right here because it's certainly the Edge character switching over to AEW.
All right. Let's get to yung pick nating tatlo, Rowan and Emil. CM Punk. We can't go further sa next category without talking about his return to WWE, which was preceded by all of the controversies that happened in AEW leading to this WWE appearance at Survivor Series War Games.
Oh,
yeah. Basically 2023 has been, like, if you would sum up a word for CM Punk for 2023, it's what the F. Because this guy, both
actually,
for good and bad.
Are we talking about his whole year? Say, yeah, sure. If it's the whole year, sure. I kind of.
No, I'm just gonna put it in like syempre bad in terms of all the things that happened before, right? With the getting in the toxic behavior, getting
good yun, real daw siya
backstage fights. Yeah, but the good here is we got that moment at Survivor Series where I thought it's not gonna happen, and we were at the viewing party. Me and Rowan were at the viewing party, and every one of us there was
Stadium.
Yeah, was shocked, and and again, there's nothing else I think more to say than, again, what the F, CM Punk.
Yeah, I mean, despite CM Punk being problematic and being controversial, it's a huge deal na bumalik siya sa WWE. It was like something not to believe in. Kasi it took me like 3-5 seconds to realize na, oh, he's actually back. Nung nag-iingay na lahat ng tao sa Hobby Stadium nun. I was one of the people who thought na hindi na siya babalik ever. Because he has been trashing the company, or like he's been shitting on the company for so many times while he's not there anymore. And the only way I can see him return to wrestling is like when after he got fired in AEW. The only way I can see him come back in wrestling is if he creates a promotion of his own. And he would claim that they're real. And then they would have one show. And then he would become the inaugural champion and only champion. And then the company will close.
Okay. I think Rowan was taking the script from like an existing local promotion that happened here in the Philippines. So we're going to move on from that. I don't want to talk about the year in and of itself kasi pinag-usapan na natin. But just that return at Survivor Series. I gotta thank CM Punk for giving us that moment giving all of us international commentators that opportunity to get a little bit of clout in the days following Survivor Series. It was a career highlight. You know, personally, I still get questions. Like just last night, people were still coming up to me at the PBA games asking, alam mo ba na magpapakita si CM Punk? And I'm like, no, dude. Wala akong alam. So, it goes to show you how big of an impression it left on people, both casual fans and people who still actively follow the product today. So I do have to thank the Chicago man here.
So you're saying that he is the head of your table?
I did not say that.
But he would be if it opens up more opportunities for you.
I guess so. Oh, if CM Punk's gonna keep putting food on my table, then I will acknowledge him. You know. So there, those are our What the F moments for 2023. Like we said, both the good and the bad. This next category, isa lang yung pag-uusapan natin because I think we've come to a consensus for catchphrase of the year, and we've been making fun of this, referencing this, playing this on the soundboard all year, and it's 6 words, guys. I have to finish the story.
Actually, the core there is obviously finish the story.
Yeah.
So, yun yung pinaka key phrase of this phrase.
Key messaging.
Yeah. So, it's so good. Cody is now tired of it, but it's his fault. Kasi Cody wanted to be this guy. He wanted to be the literary, poetic type of promo guy. A little more refined than his father was on the mic. He wanted to be super dramatic. You've seen that in his AEW days, and now he brought it over to WWE. So now he created this monster that he is now tired of because everyone keeps quoting him on it. But it is so good because it is a catch-all phrase for anything that happens in life. Like
actually,
you can use it in any context.
Yeah.
Yes.
Diba?
Ako nagamit ko siya sa reflection paper.
Exactly. Exactly. I use it in my press release articles at work.
I use it in basketball commentary.
Exactly. So we have to thank the grandson of a plumber for coming up with this all-timer because it is hilarious, it is funny, and apparently the only person who has never gotten to do this is him.
Oh my god. Pero when we were here for our 9th anniversary, Ken Warren was here, and then I got to sign my Ken Warren shirt. And admin Jackie, who was also present, was like, "Oh my God, Rowan finally finished the story." So yeah, you can really use it anywhere.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because in itself, the words "finish the story" isn't really new, right? Like this is, I'm sure before may gumamit na din ito.
No, I don't recall anyone using this. Yeah, it's so
not
novel
wrestling,
to everyone.
but in
probably not in wrestling, baka sa
general,
movies.
Yeah, but because of Cody and how he made this term popular, I think almost everyone uses it now. It has become a mainstream catchphrase, not just by wrestling fans, but by everyone, by intent man yun or not. Like whenever we would see finish the story, we'd like, it would get a pop out of us. So definitely, I think this award was literally made so that we could talk about this catchphrase. So this is definitely the consensus for the catchphrase of the year.
Yeah, this is actually a new category that Ro proposed for the year-end awards.
Okay, explain that natin. Our year-end awards, and everybody does a year-end awards, and then everyone plays it straight, which is fine because there are so many things to talk about in wrestling. So decided this year to make it a little more fun, which will be exemplified in our next category.
Yeah, our next category is the Wrestling Meme of the Year. Syempre tayo mga wrestling fans, shit posters din tayo di ba? Marami tayong alam, marami tayong time sa internet, matataba ang utak natin, and groups like the New Malacanang Pro Wrestling exist for all of these pop culture and wrestling crossover shit na, it just makes wrestling memes take on a life of their own. So we've got 2 nominees for this particular category. We're gonna start with Emil and Rowan. And this one is a given na rin if you've been children of the internet like we are.
So yeah, yung pick namin is that a CM Punk reference? So this meme, this actually started since 2014 when Punk left the WWE, and it's still usable to this day. Well, not anymore since Punk is back in WWE. But yes, this meme was a product of Punk's departure, and it started when delusional fans we're like identifying na like little pieces and bits na okay, this could be a CM Punk reference because this is like a CM Punk symbol. Etong six-sided star na to, yeah, that's a CM Punk symbol. It's a Chicago flag, man. Come on. Tapos, ever since then, naging meme na siya because people were like mocking them na, oh, is that a CM Punk reference? They were like mocking yung mga punklawan. So ever since then, it's like an Illuminati confirmed. Oh my god.
It is pretty funny. I'll give people that.
I like seeing Rowan get up on his high horse. We don't see it very often, so this is fun.
It is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh, Emil, go.
Again, weeks leading into the return, I mean, there were a lot of memes on it on Twitter where people would like, they would mock people who would like just seeing a semblance of something they would relate it to CM Punk, and yeah, everyone ate that meme. So this was again before CM Punk returned, and it was when the idea of him coming back was ridiculous to me. So I was like making fun of people who were thinking that CM Punk was gonna come back. They jokes on me that they actually came back. So, but again, it doesn't take away to how that meme resurrected itself in 2023. It was an old meme, pero because of what happened, it was resurrected for a bit here this year.
Mm-hmm. All right. So the other nominee, or the other winner rather, for this category is the Christian Cage, Your Father is Dead meme. Kunwari, actually, this applies even outside of wrestling.
Yeah, because we all have.
We all know someone who has a dead dad.
I mean, like, if you really want to be fucked up about it, you can now say to Jano Gibbs or.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
And that is why this.
Labas na ako dyan.
No. This is why I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna explain why this meme is one of the best memes of 2020.
I was about to say Mufasa from The Lion King.
You gotta go there. So, one, we're celebrating it as the rise of Christian Cage in his rightful place as one of the best heels in the game.
Sure.
So that is one of our admirations for this meme. But the second is it allows us to tap into our fucked up sides. It taps you don't have to say something terrible about the deceased person. You just acknowledge them as being deceased. So parang it's fucked up but not super fucked up. And then you don't even have to say the thing. You can just stick a picture of Christian watching you. That's how subtle it can be. So
the worst.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, the worst case, the worst meme I've seen of that I've seen on that was. I remember the issue yung about sa yung anak ni Francis M. Someone in the yung Malacanang Pro Wrestling page.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Had a good idea to put that meme together. So
kasi you don't. It's not. The Christian meme itself isn't like super offensive. It's just pointing out that someone is deceased.
Yeah. Or that someone has a deceased father.
It's still kind of tastefully fucked up, if you will. It's still kind of mainstream, right? Like, especially if they've been gone for quite a while. It's not as painful anymore. So I think that's why it's secretly so much comedy gold.
Okay, so we're recording this a few days before Christmas. And as of recording, wala pang Jano Gibbs and Christian Cage meme.
Yeah, please, no.
I don't think anyone's gonna touch that for a while, considering how the circumstances of it. But
yeah, medyo mainit pa.
I just threw that out there.
Eto sinasabi ko lang, hindi ko pinagtatawanan yung nangyari kay Jano Gibbs and Ronaldo Valdez. Hindi namin pinagtatawanan, hindi namin sineselebrate. In fact, mali yung pagkakashare ng video. Wag niyo na hanapin yung video, okay?
I'm just saying it's fucked up, and we are all a little bit fucked up inside now that Christian and his patriarchy are now in our lives.
Dark humor for the win. All right, more of the fun awards. Ito, Dance of the Year. Ito rin, self-explanatory. 2023 has become the year of wrestling dances talaga. And when Ro suggested this category, I could only really think of 3 nominees. And these are the Tozawa, yung Tozawa shuffle na ginagawa ni Akira Tozawa on Raw. There's the Daniel Garcia, yung nagpapakamacho dancer siya. And of course, there is the Nana, which Ro and Emil have actually done on our TikTok. So, apparently no votes for the Tozawa, pero split decision kami dito between the Daniel Garcia and the Nana. So, Ro, tell us the merits of the Daniel Garcia.
It is something that he uses as a plot device in his matches now. So, see, Nana is a manager, right?
Yeah.
So he just does it outside when he pulls Swerve out from a pin. He does that.
Yeah.
Or when he pulls out from the 10 count, he throws that in. Then he only really does it to entrance. So the beam is there, but it doesn't really figure as well. And the Garcia was the first one to go mainstream. Somebody in the NFL did that before the Nana before it blew up.
Yeah.
So may patunay din ng power niya. So the fact that, again, I mentioned this, I like what I like most about the Daniel Garcia is that he uses it as a character point to put his gimmick over in a match. So you'll see him throw it out just to either prove he has a personality or throw off his opponent. Tapos,
like Shibata.
Yeah.
Actually, the first guy in mind is R-Truth. Kasi there would be times, di ba, parang if he Irish whips his opponent sa ropes, tapos pag comeback niya, he's just gonna shake his balls or something.
Yeah. So I enjoy how Daniel Garcia actually figured out a little bit of psychology for it, even though he gets kicked. He gets his ass kicked when he does that. But it's still something, and it's still something to latch onto, which is saying a lot more than if he were just the straight up wrestler. So I think he benefited the most then from being in the JAS because of that, because he was forced to find something that would make him stand out.
Yeah, and something that would make him funny because the JAS, medyo comedy act sila, especially towards the end. What subtracts points from the Daniel Garcia for me is the fact na sobrang hirap niya gawin.
It is super hard.
Kung di ka marunong sumayaw, di ka marunong gumiling, hindi ka marunong magpaka-macho dancer, hindi mo siya magagawa. I can't do it!
I tried to practice it at home, pero I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. So
ako di talaga. Like, it's just embarrassing.
Yeah.
May expose na baka may white genes pala ako in my DNA because I can't do the Daniel Garcia. But the Nana dance, anyone can do the Nana dance, right?
Sobrang simple lang.
You just try to learn that shit. You can film yourself, gawin mo sa TikTok or whatever. The Nana dance is so fun. And what's funny is Nana and Swerve and the Mogul Embassy dapat kontrabida sila. But because of the Nana, everyone is doing it. Diba? Ang daming cutaways at the crowd doing I swerve when I drive and all of that stuff. And the song, diba? The fact that it's accompanied by a banger of a song, sobrang panalo niya eh. Ikaw, Emil, you've done the Nana in public at that.
Yeah, it's a fun dance kasi it's simple lang, madali siya matutunan, and it's fun. Everything about it is fun, and I love to dance. And when I feel like, sometimes when I feel like it, I will just pull off the Nana whenever something good will happen. So it's
the new dab.
Very wholesome.
Nung naging regular show host ka ba ng podcast, Emil, nagnana ka ba?
Nung
na-promote ka.
Nauso na ba Nana na?
Yeah. That was before the Nana.
Yeah, that was like August,
viral,
like a week after my birthday.
Si Rowan nagbibilang, oh.
Wow, look at you.
All right, si Rowan has no pick for Dance of the Year, but that's fine kasi it's really just down to these three for Dance of the Year: the Nana, the Daniel Garcia, and the Tozawa.
Kaya ko yung Daniel Garcia, pero baka humangal lang kayo, so I'm not gonna do it.
Okay.
Wow, all right.
No, I would have put that on our you said you can do it?
I'm kidding.
Sige, gawin mo, may camera na.
Yeah, I could put that. We need content always. We always need content.
Mamaya pag recording break, Rowan, pang TikTok to. Rowan nagsasalita tapos biglang titiklop. Mahina. All right, let's get to our last category for part 1 of the Wrestling Podcast Year-End Awards, and this is Backstage Beef of the Year. And if you are like us, if you're like the people at SB Nation, then you like your serving of beef. At dahil mga marites tayo, mga chismoso at chismosa, mahilig din tayo sa mga backstage ganap. So,
as much as I don't want to normalize it,
or celebrate it even
as part of the business. And the circumstances are now beyond our control. I mean, the biggest wrestler in the world, or one of the biggest wrestlers in the world, has normalized it for worse, not for better at all. So, it has now become part of the culture again. I think we kind of got rid of this for a while now. And then it's
Parang
back.
wala nga before, di ba?
Meron, konti. Like, Booker T and Batista, stuff like that.
Yoshitatsu and Sheamus.
Yeah, Yoshitatsu and Oh, yeah, he was the one who beat up Sheamus.
Sin Cara and Sheamus.
Yeah, he should be the one on the fuck around and find out list on the Excel sheet. Yun pala yung ano. So yeah, it wasn't as pronounced, but we got so many backstage fights over the past couple of years that at this point we gotta award them, I guess.
De ganito na lang, to justify it for the podcast, we are turning it into a meme in and of itself. Kaya siya may specific category. And we only really have 2 nominees here. So we're gonna start with your nominee, Emil.
Alright, so my nominee here is CM Punk versus Jack Perry. And this is the most random backstage beef that has probably the most consequence in the industry. Diba? And the butterfly effect of this beef will be forever studied, should be forever talked about. So expect a lot of YouTube videos,
Video essays,
interviews 10 or 20 years from now talking about this and talking about how if this incident didn't happen, what would have been of the wrestling business, diba? It's again, this beef was so random when it was reported, then nag-argue lang sila about glass.
Yeah.
And then Jungle Jack making that joke at the All-In pre-show.
Crimea River.
Crimea River. And then it sparked what is happening now. So, again, it's a butterfly. It's the butterfly effect. That's why I'm picking this as my backstage beef of the year.
All right. Of course, there's the other nominee here in this category, and it also involves one CM Punk.
Yeah, at this point, I actually should have named this award the Philip Jack Brooks Backstage Beef of the Year award. Next year that's what's gonna be called. This one is, I feel it's better. It's CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Kasi totoo naman na may namumuot na puot sa kanilang dalawa, diba? So I feel like this one is a lot more substantial, if that is even a legit criteria or metric for a backstage beef. Punk has issues with people who worked at the workplace that abused him, and then Seth was, he had a job to do. He had eventually he had a family to feed, but he had to support himself, and you can't really fault someone for staying at a job that pays their bills, that feeds them. So I think this is legit naman, and again, I side with Seth in saying that in how he identifies CM Punk as a negative force in the locker room. Seth is pretty cool as a guy who is able to be a pro despite his less than positive feelings for a number of people backstage, like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
So I think this one is not as random as the Jack Perry beef. And I also appreciate that they are at least professional enough to turn it into a meaty storyline for WWE.
Yeah, sobrang money nitong Punk Rollins feud that a lot of people are already projecting and manifesting this as the night 1 main event for WrestleMania in Philly. So that's how consequential this is. Whereas yung CM Punk Jack Perry, I just want a beef history video on this.
Yeah.
If you know yung SB Nation beef history video series.
Yeah.
I want one on CM Punk and Jack Perry. That's all I'll say about that for obvious reasons. So there, that is part 1 of our year-end awards. We got through the first half. Sabi sa inyo, diba? Good idea to split this into 2 kasi ang dami pag-uusapan. And we have way more to talk about in part 2, which should be up on your feeds in about a couple of days. But before we get out of here, special thanks to Babyface producer Jasper and Kuya Jeff, our Babyface producers here at the Pod Network, for all of the work that they do behind the scenes. Literally, sila yung at the controls sa video and audio that you're enjoying right now while we're celebrating the holidays, while we're getting extra fat, and while we're evading toxic comments from our toxic titos and titas at the family gatherings. And thank you once again for joining us for another episode of the Wrestling Podcast. We'll catch you in a couple of days for part 2 of the 2023 year-end awards. You can follow us on social media for the show. It is at Wrestling2XPod on Twitter and on TikTok. For us individually, it is at Roiswar, at Chino Supersized, at EML_Meister, at Monday Night Rowan, and at _Stan C. On behalf of Rowan ASH, Emil Nate, Ro Moran, and everyone else at the Pod Network, my name is Stancy, wishing everyone Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, everyone, and please stay safe, stay healthy, and don't be a dick, all right? Wrestling Podcast, out. Later, weirdos.
Peace.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion,